Given that Rory couldn't make the meeting, and given that John couldn't make the meeting, around 6 o'clock I took the decision that somebody from the local area, from the Trades Council, needed to actually be on the platform and explain what we're doing as a Trades Council and how we see this bill that's being put before us. Can I just finish from when, start where Tom finished? We have just set up our Facebook page, Kill the Bill. The first post we put on there, which I asked people to share, which was about this meeting, got 823 views. And that does show the power of social media. And I think one of the things that's coming through in politics now is when the press has had a complete monopoly on being able to influence people's views, social media has started to kick back against that because it's not so easy now. And I think that's shown, and I'll talk about that in a moment, in the election of Jeremy Corbyn, who was under some appalling attacks by the press, still is. His family were under appalling attacks by the press, and yet he won that election with that majority. And I think social media played a very big role in actually raising those particular issues. But what I want to start by saying tonight, we have to put a nail in the coffin of the lie that the Tories keep coming out with, that this bill is about fairness. It's about fairness to working people. On the day of the first reading, I was invited onto Radio Leicester. I was live in the studio. Sir Edward Garnier, MP for Harborough, was on the telephone from London, and it was his first comment. We have nothing to fear. This is about fairness. This is giving the right of ordinary working people to have a say within their trade unions. Garnier, by the way, was really wound up because it was the week after the tube strike, and that's all he could talk about, that he didn't get a vote in that tube strike. And I pointed out, well, you didn't get a vote because you're not an RMT member. That's why you didn't get a vote, and you're not a TSSA member, and you're not any of those members. And he said, well, I should have had a vote in that because it affects me. Well, yes, but in reality, 50%, 40% majorities. How many MPs get that sort of majority? They make the laws. If they think that this restriction on us is worth having, then it should be a restriction on them as well. And what you would see then were massive gaps on the benches of the House of Commons because these people would not be elected. And of course, Garnier tried to gloss over that. He tried to say, well, it's not the same thing at all. Well, of course it's the same thing. I don't get a vote on decisions of companies to make people redundant. I don't get a vote on house shareholders. I don't get a vote on companies relocating. If it's fairness, then I should have a vote on that. Everybody in this room should have a vote on that because that affects our local economy. So let's put this lie to bed, because it is a lie. It's the same as the lie that the Tories say they are the party of hard working people, like the rest of us are absolute skivers and don't deserve anything at all. Because that's how they will try to define people who stand up and get off their knees and stand up and want to fight on these particular issues. Now, I'm a PCS member, Chris is a PCS member, there's a lot of PCS members in this room, and we're not going to be restricted by the 40%. And why is that? Well, I have to work for the DWP. Some of the other people here work for the DWP, and if that shows again the class basis of this, we don't have to get a 40%, because if we go on strike, what does it matter? People might not get paid benefits. Of course they will get paid benefits, because that's automatic. But in reality, that's what the Tories actually think. Well, that doesn't matter, does it? Few people, hundreds, thousands of people not getting benefits won't make any difference whatsoever. And these laws, this bill, is being introduced into Britain, who already have the worst trade union laws in Europe. We are already the most restricted country in Europe on these laws. And again, that's through the Thatcher government in the 80s. And it is a crying indictment, I have to say this, it is a crying indictment on the Labour Party that those laws were never repealed, that they were actually kept in place. And of course, we hope a future Labour government would repeal those laws in the future. But did anybody see, and this is the true face of Toryism, did anybody see Dennis Skinner the other day get up and ask the business secretary, Anna Soubry, a question in the House of Commons? It's all viral on YouTube. Anne Soubry, who's the most obnoxious woman I've ever met in my life, actually just laid into Skinner, and all she could say is, well, more people may have voted, you may have a bigger majority, but more people voted for me in Broxtowe than they did in Bolsover, and she went into an absolute tirade. And her attitude to the closure of the steelworks, which the debate was about in Redcar, is that's just one of those things. There is an overproduction of steel in the country. And this is the party that will try to tell you that it stands up for hard-working people. Of course it doesn't stand up for hard-working people. What hard-working people need is a form of defence against this government and its austerity policies. And that's why the Tories want to introduce this bill. They understand the latent power that exists in the trade union movement. They understand it very well. Some of our members sometimes don't understand it as well as the Tories. But the Tories clearly understand the power that working people have if they organise. Strikes work. I would say, in my career, and PCS is a union which takes strike action quite regularly, and I'll say why in a moment, but I would say possibly I have got the proud record of, during my period of employment, I've probably been on strike for about 3 years of my employment time, because that's the amount of strikes that we've had. Daphne, sitting down here, actually went on strike for nearly 6 months at one stage, some years ago. So that shows why they're against that. But strikes work, because I'll tell you now, the National Gallery in London, 111 days of strike action by PCS members, and they haven't stopped the privatisation of the National Gallery, but they have actually achieved an awful lot of things that weren't on the table before. Strikes work, and a minister's got to sign that off, and been told that he will sign it off because it's the only way of getting back to a rational situation. The court service today, a section of the court service, has had a massive victory, PCS members. When you actually get up and fight, you can actually achieve things. When you don't get up and fight, you will never achieve things. People sometimes say to me, if you go on strike, will we win? Well, I'm not a clairvoyant. I can't say to you, we'll win. But I'll tell you something, I can tell you absolutely categorically, if you don't get up and fight, you'll lose. And that's the case. You have to be prepared to actually get up and fight on occasions. And this is what the bill's about. The bill is about stopping unions having that effective weapon in their armoury. This is a government that says it's democratic. And the democratic means a lot of things to a lot of people. Their democracy and my democracy are not the same. My democracy is you make a decision. If there's one person who carries the vote, that's a decision. And it should be implemented. That's always been. In classical times, Greece, who were the cradle of democracy, that was what democracy meant. If there was a majority, you actually carried that out. And again, I repeat, what other part of the democratic system is subject to 50% and 40%? If you'd applied that to police commissioners some years ago, turnouts were about 4%, we'd have no police commissioners in Britain whatsoever. So this is what that bill is about. It's about stopping trade unions having the effective ability to organise. And it's removing that barrier so that this government can carry on with its austerity policies, with its attacks on working people, driving down benefits, cutting services, making the rich richer, the 1% in society richer, while the 99% of us suffer at the bottom. And again, as others have said, a tax on having your union subscriptions taken from your pay. We've just had that in the DWP past the PCS, but we've still got 80% of our membership to sign up to direct debit because they understand what it is to have a fighting union. A tax on facilities. Facilities have almost been shredded in DWP and in many other parts of PCS, and it will come out to local authorities as well. That's what we're facing. This government is going for a full frontal attack on working people, and it needs to attack that barrier that exists between it and working people in terms of the trade unions who are there to defend working people. And I say, as a Trades Council, we debated the trade union bill a few months ago on the basis of a resolution. And that resolution did have a call for the one-day general strike, which was taken out. That was a view of the Trades Council, and as its secretary, I accept that. But what I would say is this: I think the Tories will reap the whirlwind that they are creating. They are creating the potential for the biggest unrest amongst working people in this country. And you will see a rise of unofficial strikes. It's not something we're calling for, the TUC is not calling for it, I'm not calling for it. It will happen, because if there is no alternative, working people are not going to lie down and die. This is a myth that the Tories put forward, that if they legislate, we'll all go away. Well, of course we won't. The history of the labour movement is we mobilise against bad laws. We take bad laws on and we actually change bad laws. I'm a poll tax veteran. I went all through that campaign. I stood shoulder to shoulder with 18 million people in Britain during that campaign, and we changed it. More than that, we brought down Thatcher. We brought down the Iron Lady. We actually said, this person who's invincible changed. So, if even the bill's passed, it won't stop working people, but it will make it more difficult. It'll throw confusion. It'll throw people being worried about what the situation is with their job and their conditions. But nevertheless, those people will still get up and fight, because when you've got no alternative, that's what you do. You get up and fight. But let's not minimise it. I'm not arguing, well, it'll be okay then, because we'll just have an unofficial action. Of course, that's not the case. We want a proper, organised system. Strike action. Unions are bodies of compromise. They are not revolutionary organisations. They're not there in of themselves to overturn society. They're there to negotiate, to compromise, and the employer has to compromise as well. It's a two-way process, and it's a balance, and the Tories are trying to tip the balance completely the other way, away from that. But in reality, we need to see that we have those rational arrangements, because otherwise what you have is continual industrial unrest, and you have that continual battle going on in society. I said I'd come back to the election of Jeremy Corbyn, because I think that is a tremendous step forward for working people in this country. I'm not in the Labour Party, I haven't been for years, but I welcomed Jeremy Corbyn's election, because what he does, he acts as a beacon to those fighting austerity, and he acts as that beacon. And you think you can see that the sights are being raised by people. They think the Tories and its press are trying to rubbish him day in, day out, and they see these polls where he's got a 94% satisfaction rating. That's not 94%, in my opinion, for the fact of people saying Labour he's got a 94% endorsement, but it is saying we do endorse people who get up and fight, and if you're prepared to get up and fight, we'll endorse you. And I think that is important to say. When we've got that sort of mood in the country, we should be confident. We should be absolutely confident that we can go forward and we can defeat this bill. And I think it's important that we use all methods possible to defeat this bill. This bill's the biggest threat that we've faced for many, many years, and it's a class war. I didn't use the term. I'll go back to that interview with Garnier. I never used the term class war in my contribution, but you know what he came back with? Is, oh well, this is just talk of class war, isn't it? But you know, I thought, well, now you've mentioned it, Edward, I'll say it's class war. But it was him who mentioned it first, and that's because he's betraying that he knows it's about a class war. It's an assault on people. And by the way, Garnier would consider himself to be towards the left of the Tory party, whatever that means these days, but he would consider himself to be towards the left of the Tory party. So it's important. Leicester and District Trades Council, we are the body that the TUC asked to organise unions locally. Bring those unions together, share experience, share resources, support each other. That's what the Trades Union Council's about. And it is, in these times, building support for campaigns like this to defeat the bill. There are some unions in this room tonight, perhaps, who aren't affiliated to the Leicester and District Trades Council. Well, I would say please affiliate. Join that fight, join with us. Make sure that we can build and we can take this bill on. And I do think the first stage of that has to be this lobby and demonstration on the 2nd of November. It is important. You may find your MP will give you nice warm words and say, yes, I'm going to vote against it, and they probably will, but you know, it will be more of a sort of little chat. You may find your MP, if you happen to be a Tory one, will give you a chapter and verse about fairness, as I said before, and it's why you've got to nail that line, that this is not about fairness at all. There's no fairness involved in this. It's about completely being unfair and giving the Tories the advantage. But the important thing is, on November the 2nd, we have to graphically show. We have to show Parliament. We have to show the media. But we also, more importantly, have to show our own members that we're not lying down. We're not taking this. We will get up off our knees and we will defeat this bill, because the alternative is too unthinkable. We're going to win. We're going to defeat it. We've been through battles before. We're confident if we organise we can defeat it. Let's go forward, comrades. Let's defeat this bill. Let's see the Tories suffer a major defeat. So please, please support the TUC call, the Trades Union Council call. Get down there on November the 2nd and support all other actions against this bill. Thank you.